Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our Plant of the Week podcast, brought to you by Bonide Products, family made in America. Visit Bonide.com to find a retailer near you. Each week, Plant Talk Radio's Fred Hauer focuses on a plant that would be a great addition to your landscape. Now for this week's Bonide Products Plant of the Week. And welcome back. It's time for Fred's Plant of the Week.
Well, in this case, again, Mark, it's plants. And I just simply marked it for this week. Your favorite cut or live Christmas tree. Most people are using cut trees, and I understand in the marketplace, some trees, some forms of them at least, are a little bit hard to find. And I understand, as is usual, that drives the price up a little bit. But at the same time, I like to have cut or live, and I don't use live anymore because of just don't have a place to put them after Christmas. The cut trees are going to give you an odor, and the odor is, let's just call it, of greenery, especially when you keep the moisture under the tree. Now, let's go from there. Some people will not have put their trees up yet, and let's start with the fact that you should cut about 1 inch off the butt of that tree stock or trunk. Sometimes a little more or less, whatever, but at the same time, since they've been cut, the material in the tree's trunk will have come to that cut edge and sealed, literally, by this length of time. So you want to cut that off, get a fresh stump into the water, and then water. Now, not to spill over onto the carpet, and it's best to let's just say guard the carpet or flooring, etc. But do every day or every other day at least, check the reservoir, make sure that it's staying moist. 1, it will be a safer tree in the house. 2, it will smell better. And 3, look a whole lot better. And then it won't shed so many pounds of needles when you take it back out of the house after the holiday season. So I like to think in terms of just simply cut trees. We've worked our way around. As a child, it was balsam fir was what my dad and mom liked, on into noble fir, which are very, very rare to get here. Douglas fir, which is not a true fir, but in any event, those are all medium-sized needled things. Then there are the pines. Many of our Christmas trees are Scotch pine. And when they're young and vibrant and being sprayed and cared for, you don't have to worry about the disease, and you don't have to worry about the disease carryover anyhow. It's an airborne type of thing, more for spring wet areas. So it's just fun to have that living tree. Now, I know many have converted to the artificial tree, and I have kind of watched the cycle. They get tired of putting it up. They get tired of keeping water under it, et cetera, et cetera. So they buy an artificial tree. And 3 years later, the artificial tree looks the same as it did last year. And again, and again, and again. And they go back to a live, not live necessarily, but a cut tree. And then as far as live trees are concerned, I hope if you have a live tree or are intending to get one, you've already dug the hole, because that ground's going to get hard pretty shortly.
You know, it's interesting because I heard a tip the other day about putting out a tree. Mm-hmm. Instead of digging the hole, what you can do is buy a bag of mulch and buy a bag of soil amendment, lay them down in the yard where you're going to dig the hole, and then when you're ready, you move them. The soil won't be as frozen, and you've got the amendment and the mulch already out there. So I wanted to ask you if you thought that was a good idea.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea for sure, because those are the things you should use and have on hand. However, having been around a garden center for a good bit of my life, those bags will freeze. Now, they may keep the soil beneath it from freezing, but picking up a chunk, not a bag, but a chunk of mulch or what have you, can be a bit of a challenge. And then it also can be a bit of a challenge to break it up to get it to assimilate into the soil and so on. Yeah. Not a bad idea, but at the same time, I think I'd buy extra, stack them too high, and keep the one I wanted to use on the warmish side.
Well, that's the first thing I thought. I thought you're going to have 2 big ice chunks out there in those bags.
That's right. I can remember doing a landscape job way back in time where we actually used a jackhammer, and the ground had frozen 12 to 14 inches deep in that case, and we would literally chunk out the soil, throw it on a truck, dump it on a truck, whatever, and then bring in stuff that we had in the barn that was fit to, prepared and ready and not cold and chunky. But that was the darndest experience. Guys standing around fire barrels using a jackhammer to plant landscape plants. That was a little bit different.
Thanks again for listening to our podcast, brought to you by Bonide Products at bonide.com. Plant Talk Radio offers other podcasts as well, including our daily Your Gardening Question podcast and our weekly Plant Talk Radio, all available on iTunes or your preferred podcast player. If you have a plant suggestion for Fred, send him an email, fred@planttalkradio.com.